So, Mr. Prime Minister, thank you very much for your time. And this is your first time attending the CIIE as a Prime Minister. So this morning you were at the opening ceremony. Can you tell us how do you think about the President Xi Jinping's keynote speech and what key message impressed you most?
Well, first of all, it's a real privilege to be attending this very important global event as the newly elected Prime Minister of Greece. We're here with a big presence and we're also very happy that Greece is one of the honored countries of the Expo this year. I think President Xi gave a very interesting speech. I very much retain his focus on multilateral institutions and the importance he assigns to finding win-win solutions to complicated global problems. I was also struck by the emphasis he placed on opening up China's markets to exports from other countries, something which is also particularly important for Europe, but also for my country, Greece.
Yeah, as you mentioned, that Greece is one of the honors of Great here, and this is your first time leading a business delegation to attend the CIIE. How special do you think about this exhibition?
It's a very impressive exhibition from what I've seen, certainly very big. It's an opportunity, I think, for each country that participates to exhibit its extrovert nature, and we also have a very nice Greek pavilion, and we invite the visitors to visit the Greek pavilion, but also to experience the Greek products that will be exhibited here. So I'm very impressed by what I have seen, and next year we'll have an even bigger presence.
Great. And we know that the bilateral trade between China and Greece has increased a lot, over 40%, especially the export of Greece to China has increased over 90%. So with the help of CIIE, how do you think about this year's expectation and especially the exports years ahead?
I think we set our ambitions very high. We want to promote an export-led growth for my country, and of course China is the largest market of interest for Greek companies, I would say for companies from any country of the world. So we intend to make our presence felt in China, and as China is moving up to open its internal market, I think this will encourage more Greek companies to explore opportunities in China, and there are significant opportunities. For example, Greece is a very big marble exporter to China, marble being used as the raw material in the construction business. But we're also big, and we should become much bigger producers and exporters of agricultural goods as Chinese tastes are changing. Chinese customers are becoming more familiar with products such as olive oil, feta cheese, Greek yogurt, high quality Greek wine. So all these are tremendous opportunities in a country with a huge middle class.
Okay, and let's talk about the tourism, because tourism has become one of the key engines for Greek economic growth. Last year, over 200,000 Chinese tourists traveled to Greece, and Greek officials expect that number to double by the end of 2020. So what kind of measures have you taken to attract more Chinese customers?
Well, first of all, we want more Chinese visitors to Greece. Greece and China are two ancient civilizations, and the level of cultural affinity and connection, I think, is unrivaled. So I think there is a natural interest by Chinese people to explore Greece for its ancient civilization, but also to explore modern Greece and the promises it has to offer. I assign particular importance to increasing the number of direct flights between China and Athens. We have one from Beijing. We're adding a second one from Shanghai, but also other major cities such as Chengdu should be served through a direct flight. And then, of course, the big platforms that publicize tourist products all over the world, they need to focus more on advertising what Greece has to offer. What I can tell you is that Chinese tourists, whenever they come to Greece, they leave very, very happy. So a lot of them also come to have their weddings in Greece, and it is very meaningful and very important for us that so many Chinese people choose this very special moment in their life to have it taken place in Greece. So if you look at the numbers, the sky is the limit, really. I've set a target for myself of 500,000 visitors by 2021. Then we can, as this gains traction, this can increase significantly. And hopefully we can also have some Chinese film companies shooting and producing films and series in Greece. This will also help the broader Chinese audience to understand what Greece is all about. 2021 is going to be a year of culture and tourism in terms of our bilateral relations. There will be big exhibitions in China of very important Greek artifacts. So I think we have a coherent strategy in tourism and culture to make Greece much better known in China and to convince Chinese visitors traveling abroad that it is certainly worthwhile making a stop in Greece. If you come to Europe, if you're Chinese and you come to Europe, you have to come to Greece. It also happens to be the country that is closest to China from all the European countries.
Okay. So let's talk about One Belt and One Road initiative. We know that Greece is one of the first countries joining the Belt and Road initiative. Last August, Greece signed an MOU with China to jointly advance the projects. So how do you evaluate the cooperation over the last year, and what new measures do you think that should enhance the cooperation between the two countries?
I think the progress that has been made is significant. We've also become the latest member of what is now the 17+1 initiative. But as far as Belt and Road is concerned, we have made significant progress as far as the Port of Piraeus is concerned, which is the most important infrastructure project. It's a flagship project regarding Chinese infrastructure investments in Greece. Within 2 months, we took over the government on July 7th. We gave a 2-month deadline to approve the master plan for the new COSCO investment in the Port of Piraeus. We did it in 2 months. I visited COSCO yesterday. They're very, very happy about the progress we've made. And I'm really looking forward to the investment that will take place in the port. It will significantly upgrade its potential. And the aim should be long-term to make Piraeus the biggest port in Europe. And I think we can achieve that.
Because we know that many European countries show their concerns about the Belt and Road initiative. What new message will you want to give to them?
What I'm saying to my European counterparts, especially coming from a country that is emerging from a very profound 10-year crisis, is that we're open for business. And we attract investment, Chinese investment, European investment, American investment, Japanese investment. But I also want to point out that the Chinese invested in the Port of Piraeus at a time when very few other countries were considering making direct infrastructure investments in Greece. So this is a project that will proceed. It's a commitment that we have made. And frankly, I think it's a win-win project. I think it's also a win-win project for everyone because, as I told you at the beginning, I'm a believer in international trade. I think that eventually trade works for the benefit of everyone. Piraeus is a natural entry point for products from China, but also from East Asia into Eastern Europe and into Central Europe. You save between 7 and 10 days of time by arriving in Piraeus versus going around the Strait of Gibraltar and calling on one of the northern European ports. So this is an important investment for us if we proceed.
Okay. So last question is about the world is facing a lot of challenges, including unilateralism and uncertainties. So how do you think about the globalization and multilateralism?
As I told you at the beginning, I'm a believer in multilateral institutions. I also acknowledge at the same time that a new balance needs to be found. When we look at the relationship between the European Union and China, because one should not forget, we spoke a lot about the bilateral relationship, but when it comes to trade, Europe speaks with one voice, and it's the voice of the European Union. I think we've made progress in striking a new balance that is equitable, fair, and that promotes the interests of both sides. It is very important that China opens up its market to European goods. It's also very important what President Xi said today, that you want to place a particular emphasis on intellectual property issues. So these are all very, very, very good news. But at the end of the day, unilateral solutions when it comes to trade protectionism eventually are lose-lose propositions. I also place particular emphasis on the agreement that will be announced and signed tomorrow between the European Union and China regarding the protection of geographical origins for agricultural products. Why am I saying that? Take a product such as feta, for example, feta cheese, which is so important for Greece. Chinese customers need to know that feta is a Greek product, and nobody else can use the term feta to label what is a white cheese that is not produced the same way that feta cheese is produced. Feta is protected in the European Union, and I think we will be able to expand this level of geographical protection also in our relationship with China. These issues are very important because at the end of the day, they serve to protect the Chinese customer.
Okay, so China-Greece cooperation can be a good example of China and European countries.
Yes, and I think we are, even geographically, we're a natural bridge between Europe and China. And I think there was progress made at the last EU-China summit. There will be a new one. There are differences, but I think what unites us at the end of the day, in the sense that China is such a rapidly growing market, so focused on also making technological progress in areas which are critical, such as climate change. At the end of the day, the big challenges, the big global challenges, such as climate change, can only be addressed by having everyone at the table. And we're happy that China on this issue is sitting at the table. Yeah.
Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay.